Hello and welcome to another episode of the Vincast. My name is James Garsbrook, also known as the Intrepid Wino, and last week I went to what has been one of the historically iconic days in the wine calendar here in Melbourne. It was actually the what was formerly known as the Royal Melbourne Wine Show, now named the Melbourne Wine Awards, the Trophy Winners' Lunch, and it's done in conjunction with Wine Communicators of Australia. So I went along to that and met with a number of my WCA colleagues, and also some of the trophy winners, including Tom Carson, who won this year's Jimmy Watson Trophy. For those who don't know, Jimmy Watson's is a wine bar in Carlton on Lygon Street, and many years ago they actually introduced an award at the Melbourne Wine Show for the best one-year-old red wine. At the time, the wine had to be in barrel, but several years ago they changed the rules so that it could be a wine that was already in bottle. And one of the momentous things about Tom Carson from Yabby Lake winning this award was that it's actually the first time a Pinot Noir has won it, I think, in over 50 years. So it was a pretty amazing feat for them to have done that. I mean, Australia, obviously, for red wine is particularly well known for things like Shiraz and Cabernet Sauvignon. So the fact that a Pinot Noir has won it really does sort of show how much quality has improved with wines made from that grape, and also how trends have sort of changed, tastes, education, that kind of thing has allowed a Pinot Noir wine to win that award. So, for today's episode, I've actually got my first European guest. He actually is an Italian from Friuli, a particular area called Collio. His name is Martin Fiegl, and he is here in Australia representing his family's winery, Azienda Agricola Fiegl. And just so everyone knows, he's out on the road with me in my capacity as the Victorian sales representative for Lario International. He's one of our producers, and we're really glad to have him here. And so I sort of snuck a bit of time to sit down with him, and so we're going to have a chat about him and his winery. So thank you for joining us, Martin.
No, thank you to you, James. Goodbye to all your followers, and for me it's a pleasure to explain my wines and my winery to you and to all of you, all of them.
Yes. And obviously I'm really pleased to be introducing you to some of the very important wine people here in Melbourne. So tell us what is so different about Friuli and this particular part of Italy, because Friuli is in the northeastern part of Italy, has a long history of winemaking like many other parts of Italy, but what is particular about Friuli?
Yeah, you know, we are just the northeast part of Italy. We are just on the border with Slovenia, with Austria. So Friuli, yeah, the wine's history is well long, but not so long, because the intensive production of wines. I mean, the first thing wine became in the 50s, before we were under Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Yes.
So, for example, my family changed the family name 3 times during the history.
Okay.
Because originally name now is Fiegl, Fiegl.
Yes.
But my name now is Fiegl in Slovenian. And the nice thing is that, for example, my grandfather brother is Figelli, Italian version, so depend when someone was born, because we changed in 100 years, we changed three states. I mean, we were Austro-Hungarian, Italian, Yugoslavian, then another time Italian, so it was...
so you have a very
very complex
identity.
Yeah. It's a very unique identity. For example, my stories, originally my name is from German, but we are speaking Slovenian too. We are living in Italy. Then part of our family came from Istria, so it's a big melting pot for us. Like, I think that we represent my family story represent the story of the area, no?
Yes.
And about wine, not so many told you or that why we are producing white wine. That's my theory. But we when we came under Italy, Italy is full of red wine.
Yes.
South of Italy is making red wine. Tuscany, then Piemonte, all
Yes.
this region were always producing red wine. And when we went under Italy, so we had to find a new variety to produce. So the white wine in Italy was not so popular, and this was one of the reasons why Friuli, especially Friuli, now is very famous for white wines. No? And we start to plant wines in 50s, because before, when we were during the First World War, Oslavia, my town where I coming, Collio, all over, was completely destroyed.
Yes.
So we had to rebuild an economy, to rebuild everything in this place. And the first variety that we try to regrow, to replant, was Ribolla Gialla.
Yes.
Ribolla Gialla represents the most important indigenous wine from our area.
Yes.
But we've planted Pinot Grigio too, because for us, we consider Pinot Grigio for our area one of indigenous wines from our area, because Friuli-Venezia Giulia is famous all over the world, especially Collio, for Pinot Grigio.
Yes.
Because still now on Australian market, or in US market, or in England, in China, when you are speaking about Friuli, you can find in the wine list especially Pinot Grigio, no?
Yes. But certainly Pinot Grigio is considered the Italian white grape variety, and I think that people understand that Friuli is sort of one of the best places for it.
Thanks to Friuli.
Yes.
Now you can find Pinot Grigio all over Sicily, Puglia, center of Italy.
A lot in Veneto.
But now
for me, the two best areas are Friuli and Alto Adige.
That's for sure.
Because of the cooler climate.
Yeah, but there's another reason why northeast part of Italy is we are growing white wines, because usually for make good red wines you need special weather in October.
Yes.
End of September, October has to be very a lot of sun. And the problem is that in northeast part of Italy the weather is very changeable in that period.
Yes.
So it's very hard to have a great ripening of red wines. Ripening of red wines. No?
Yes.
And this was one of the reasons. But I can tell you that in the last 10 years the weather really changed, because I remember I'm 31 now, but when I was 12 or 14 or 10 years old, I started school in the middle of September. I was always very disappointed, because started the harvest at the same time now, so
yes.
I had to go to school and not to help at home for harvest. But in the last 10 years, the weather really changed, and we are starting the harvest a month before, mediumly. And in the middle of September, we are just picking up red wines. So it's the weather changed, no? And so for this reason, the red wines have a good maturation too, and I think that right now the red wines coming from Friuli are very interesting too, especially Merlot and some Cabernets. You can find really good red wines too now, right now, in the last 5-6 vintages. Yeah.
Okay. Before the growth or the rebirth of Friuli as a wine producing region, when it was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, I met with Antonella Nonino from the great Grappa distillery, and she explained in this tasting that the part of the Grappa came from this part of Italy because of the Austro-Hungarian heritage. So I would think that a lot of the grapes that were grown in the past were possibly used for grappa as well, and this is why these indigenous grape varieties like Ribolla Gialla, Malvasia, Piccolizzi, this kind of thing, they are so great for grappa as well.
So the first thing is that you have to know that during the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Friuli was considered the California from the empire, no? Like California for US. I mean, we were first of all, we had to produce vegetables and fruits, no? And for example, Oslavia before 1928 was all full, were planted olives, olive tree all over.
Yes.
We were great producers of olive oil.
Yes.
And then after 1928 was a very hard winter, and all the plants did. So one of the reasons why we are not producing more olive oil is this. But then when under Italy is full of oil too, no?
Yes.
About the varieties, why Ribolla, Glera? Because we have plants, very old plants of Glera. You know which is Glera? Glera is the grape for making prosecco, no?
Si.
It's called Glera. All these varieties, Glera, Malvasia, Ribolla, Piccolito, they have the plants are producing a lot of grapes, no?
Yes.
So in that period was important not the quality but the quantity, no?
Yes.
The Ribolla was very nice, a very nice grape to see. It's very big, so it's very good to eat too, no? And so it was not only used like for making wine, but for eating too, no? For put on the table, no? So like Malvasia, like Piccolit, no?
It's also like Trebbiano. Trebbiano is, the
exactly.
different families of Trebbiano is the most.
The same concept is the other white
variety.
wine was Trebbiano in the middle of Italy because it's producing. You can have a good quantity with some plants. You can make good quantity of wine.
But I think it's also very important for something like grappa, because Trebbiano and what they call it in France is Uni Blanc. That's the great variety for cognac. And that's why that variety is the most planted variety in the world, because they use it for a lot of brandy production.
But we are working with Nonino. Our skins, our grapes, we put after the pressing, we sold to Nonino. So I know them very well. Another thing and they are trying to improve is distillation of not only grappa. Because grappa is alcoholic made with only with grapes, no? But they are now trying to improve the production of distillato. That's like I don't know in English. It's like making with spirits, making with fruits.
Yes.
Slivovitz or Kirsch, or very good with peaches, made with peaches. So every kind of fruit in our area was distilled. No, we made alcohol with every kind of fruit. From cerezas.
Probably the most common name for this would be schnapps.
Schnapps.
It's a German name.
Schnapps, exactly. My grandfather and me, I was still calling schnapps the grappa, no?
Yes.
And schnapps was made with every kind of fruit, no? So the distillation in that period was very important. Production of every kind of spirit. Another thing is that. In that period, wine was considered like food for alimentation. How to explain? Was used
for nourishment.
Come un alimento, no? Something to eat. No?
Yes, of course.
Since 1960s, the middle quantity of wine that everyone drink in Italy was around 65 liters.
Yes.
Now,
what is it now?
Now it's like maybe around 30 or maybe less. It's good. Because now it's not. That time was during the lunch or during the dinner. Every family, sons, kids, grandfather, grandmother, drink a glass of wine.
Yes.
Because it was an integration to the food, no?
Yes.
Now it's just the people are drinking wine for enjoy, for when they're out for a dinner, but. At home, is not the people are not drinking more wine like in that years, no.
Yes.
So for this reason, the concept of production of wine changed, no. It's not more aliment and food like an alimento, no, like a food, but something. It's a kind of
more special.
More special, exactly. Yeah.
One of the interesting things that I found with Friuli is that there are a lot of different areas, and they're all quite different to each other, both geographically and historically. I spent a bit of time in a particular part of Collio around Cormons. How do you distinguish between the different areas? They use different grape varieties. The wines.
No, the soil is completely different.
Very different. Okay.
Very different. You start from we can start from Istria, from the Trieste, the part of that's Carso, called Carso,
yes.
Gras. The soil that is very calcareous. And in that area is very popular Terrano, the wine called Terrano.
Yes.
And this wine is rich of iron.
Okay.
It's very nice to visit that area because you can find this what's called cavern holes, this cava, natural cava. Caves, yeah, yes. Right. And a lot of cellars are made of winemakers, are very small winemakers. I think that Italian part of Carso, of Gras, is total extension is 60 hectares.
60 hectares?
Yeah. Are five, it's one big winery, maybe have around 20, and then are 5 or 6 other small winemakers that have immediately around 8 or 10 hectares, no less, 5.
Okay. Yeah.
And about white wines, very popular from them are coming Vitusca. I don't know if you listen about this. Is a new grape variety.
Yes.
Indigenous from that area that's coming very popular. It's called Vitusca.
Yes.
But the first wine was this red wine called Terrano, rich of iron, because this soil is rich of iron. I mean,
very red.
Very red, exactly. Okay. Mixed with this calcareous soil, no?
Okay.
And this is just on the seaside, on northeast part, no?
Yes.
And then you move northern, and you find the Isonzo River, no? And Isonzo River is the soil is sandy, very rich of, especially sandy and rocks, no? Mm-hmm. And that area was famous and still now famous for Refosco, another indigenous red wine from the area.
Yes.
And then in the last years, a lot of wineries like Yerman, Lisneris, or Digby's name became popular with Pinot Grigio. Because
yes.
on that soil, Isonzo River is a very good area for Pinot Grigio, no?
Yes.
Then you can move on east, and then you find another river, Tagliamento, no? And this river, the soil is quite similar to Isonzo, but is more rich of rocks. It's just only rocks, small rocks, but a lot of.
But like river rocks?
It's white. The soil is white because river rocks. Yeah, river rocks. Just
so alluvial.
Alluvial, yeah. And that area is called Grave.
Okay.
There are producing now a lot of Prosecco or a lot of Pinot Grigio too, but in the last years they start to improve the production of Prosecco, no? Because you know that now Prosecco we can produce, for example, in Oslavia we can produce Prosecco.
This is part of the DOCG for Prosecco?
No, only DOC.
Or DOC. The DOCG.
And you know why? Why there was this big extension of Prosecco from Treviso, from Conegliano to all Friuli? You know why?
Well, because the market for Prosecco around the world increased?
No, because with the new rules about the wines, European rules, no, if you call a wine with the name of a place, of a city, of a town,
yes,
that place have to be included in the DOC.
Yes.
Prosecco is a small town in Carso, no, and Carso is the more east part of Friuli, just on the border with Slovenia, yes, southern. So the Consorzio Prosecco from Valdobbiadene, from Conegliano, yes, they had to extend the area from Conegliano west to Prosecco east. So they take inside all Friuli and some regions, some other like Treviso, Vicenza, and some other parts of Veneto. No?
And that's how they were able to stay. It's protected because it included the okay.
Yeah, and it's DOC, no?
It's complicated, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's the DOC, DOCG, The OCG is only the part in Conegliano,
Yes.
the old part that was considered Prosecco, no?
Yes.
But now all this part is Prosecco too. Only because this town Prosecco had to be included in the DOC
To protect
for
name
for
Prosecco.
new European rules. But it's true that on the historicals show that is really coming Prosecco from that area. I mean, the first sparkling white wine was made in Italian sparkling white wine was made called Prosecco was made in Carso in Trieste, not in Veneto.
No.
No? So it's and this is one of the region. Then you move northern, and then you find the Collio, are the first hills, no, moving around, along the border with Slovenia. After Carso, the first hills are called Collio. Collio is where is Oslavia, where I come from, and the soil is rich, is clay, right? And very another characteristic is this kind of rock called ponca. It's very friably, how it's called? It's very porous, yeah. So it's broken, makes soil, no?
Yes.
And in that area, we right now are popular Ribolla Gialla, Malvasia, and the Friulano too, no? You know, remember Friulano?
Which used to be called Friulano Tokai.
Right, ecco. And then you move northern to Udine, no? Another big city from Friuli. Actually, it's not big city because the capital is Trieste.
Okay.
But are four provinces: Trieste, Gorizia, Udine, and Pordenone. No, Pordenone is just on the border with Veneto. No,
okay.
But all Friuli have like 1,200,000 people. It's not. It's maybe I don't know a quarter of Melbourne. I mean, no, something like that. But so northern is another DOC, very important. It's called Colli Orientali del Friuli. No, all this long name, and there are making Schioppettino. They are making Ramandolo, indigenous wines. No, very particular. Ramandolo is considered is the only most famous sweet wine from Friuli. No, called Ramandolo. No, but it's a great variety that's called Ramandolo. And so this is and then northern we have the Alps, Alpi Giuliane, Julian Alps, and so these different soils, different altitudes make from Friuli a really special area for making wines.
Very diverse.
Because it's very diverse, and for example, Gorizia is just in the middle. Now where I'm coming, Collio is just in the middle, and we have 30 kilometers from us we have Alps, and 30 kilometers we have Adriatic Sea. So we are just in the middle, and this make environmental conditional very good for making wines, especially white wines, because these conditions exalting the aromas of the grape. No, so we obtain really aromatic wines with good flavors, typical primary aromas coming from the grape. No.
Yes. How long has your family had the Azienda
Agricola? We came from Vienna in 1782, so we are more than 2 centuries there. And my family always work in like an Azienda Agricola, so we were always farmers. No? We made the story that I explained before, so we moved from the kind of production mixture. We had cows, we had the fruit where we produce fruits, vegetables,
like a fattoria.
Okay. Then we after in 50s we started to grow to plant more vineyards. And
before this you had just some small vineyards.
Because we produced wine, but we didn't produce only wine. I mean, the first business, because it was the first thing that you pick it up, were the ciliegie, you know, the Sarieses.
Cherry.
Yeah, the first fruit was cherry.
For eating?
For eating, yeah.
Okay.
This was the first money coming in the farm, no, because
was it being used for schnapps?
Where it was for schnapps, but not only, it was used for selling for eating just on the tables, no, the families. And then in 50s we start to grow, to improve the production of grapes.
Yes.
But first moment we sold the grapes to other wineries there, no?
To other wineries or to cooperative?
First moment to cooperative, but then to other wineries that start to make wines in the area. But in 1992, so not so long ago, we start to bottle our production, because we are a big family. I mean, that 1992 started my father with 2 uncles, no?
Yes.
We are 4th generation, only boys, no girls.
Yes.
I had a daughter a year before, so my daughter is the first woman in my family after 100 years, no?
Wow.
And my father in 1992 decided to start to bottle the wines, and then came me, my brother, my cousin, and we improved the selling of wines. We improved the production. We bought other hectares there, and we improved the cellar too. We try to make a combination, to find a combination between the tradition and the new technologies. So
yes.
And then we try to make a kind of wine that's going behind the what people want. No, I mean,
sure. But so you mentioned that when you were young, 1992, that would have made you 10 years old when your father and your uncles decided to start to produce the wine themselves and sell the wine themselves. This was when you were first being introduced to wine. Wine was a part of your life. And
yeah.
Was there always the
actually, to living in a winery or in a farm, you start to work very young. I mean,
yes.
You have to start to help the parents very early, no? And it's very popular that the sons of farmers going will do the same business like the fathers. But honestly, I had always the passion for this work. No,
yes.
That reminded a situation that reminded my mind was not in 1992, but when I was 14, 15, my father told me clear. I mean, he told me, listen, you decide to do, because that years I start the school for winemaker, no?
Yes.
And my father told me, okay, you decide to go in this business, no, to work with me, but I want to be very honest with you. Here the problem is not the production of wine, but the problem is sell the wine.
Yes.
Because right now we are selling that time they were selling just for my father, for 2 uncles, not for more people working there. So if I wanted to stay in the winery and my brother too, someone had to start to improve the selling of wine.
You had to earn your keep.
So, and then I always like to travel, to meet new cultures and everything, and okay, I tell to my father, okay, I will start to try to sell more wine, and so it's more than 10 years, and I'm traveling. I started very young to travel and to sell wines. But you
started to study when you were 15 about winemaking.
Yeah, 14. From 14 to 20. 6 years in Italy. The school for winemaker.
And you completed this?
Yeah.
So you are a qualified winemaker.
Yes. I worked in Napa Valley for harvest. The only experience that I do around, and honestly,
outside of your own winery.
Outside of my winery, and honestly, that's. I like that. I like to. My idea was to move more, but I had to stop at home, so I stay at home, and I work at home. But my idea was to have other experiences around the world. And
how did you find the experience of working in a winery in the New World?
Because I worked in a winery called Luna Vineyards. They are on Silverado Trail, just in Napa.
Yes.
And the owners came every year in Friuli because they want to plant and to grow varieties from Friuli in Napa.
Really?
Yeah, they are still. I made the first harvest of Tokai Friulano in California, in Napa Valley. And so I met them in Friuli, and then I asked them if I can go there. Mm-hmm. They had a big production of Pinot Grigio too. And for me, it was a great experience, because I see a new world. The idea, a great experience, not for making wine, honestly, but for selling wine.
Yes.
Because I think that the big problem of Friuli and of Italy is that, especially of Friuli, is that we don't know to sell very well our products, no?
Okay.
And I think that Californian producers, they are the best in this. I mean, just the thing to have that all the wineries have a tasting room.
Yes.
For us is for us is something new. Now you were in Friuli last year, so you see that the wineries that you visited, they have a tasting room where they can give you to taste the wines and introduce and sell. No, believe me that since 10 years ago, the tasting room was just or in the kitchen or outside in the garden. They didn't. For us was something concept very hard to do, because Friulani, the people from Friuli are very friendly, but I mean are very open, and we have a great hospitality and everything. But yeah, believe me that 10 years ago or 15 years ago was very difficult to go in a cellar to taste wines.
Yes.
We changed because we had to change, because the market changed, and today public relations are fundamental. Are very important. So the first kind of making public relations is to have a good hospitality in your cellar. No,
of course.
It was
especially because now there are so many more people traveling around the world, and so you have people from potential markets in North America or in Australia. Or
my family, we always make. We had a tasting room, or we try to
somewhere to welcome people.
To welcome people, yeah.
Yes.
Because for me, I am always thank you to a guy that's coming from the other part of the world to visit me.
Yes.
So I know what it means to travel. So if a guy, someone take the plane to come from Australia to Oslavia, no, and he came to visit me, I cannot tell him, I'm sorry, I'm busy. No, it's important. You have to forget what are you doing, and you have to give a glass of wine and feta di salame to the guests, because there's a respect to them.
I think this was one of the things I found most fantastic in Italy, is that people are very grateful to say, you have come so far. We are so grateful for you to make the time to come here. We want to show you our life. We want to show you how important wine is.
We grow into this, but believe me that I'm honest with you. It's a new concept. I mean,
wine tourism is a concept that is new in Europe.
It was more in Tuscany. They learn about this now, about the wine tourism, Tuscany.
They are lucky though. They are lucky,
because they have Siena,
a lot of people
Firenze,
are going to Siena and Firenze anyway, so it's not difficult for people to go and visit some wineries
something
in Chianti.
New. And we lose a lot of years just because.
I think wine tourism will be more and more important in Friuli.
You know why? We lose many years because we didn't need. I mean, Friuli wines, white wines from Friuli. All the sellers sold the wine, sold out the wine in some months, 2-3 months after. I mean, June, all the cellars were empty. So.
Yes. But now
it's
globally it's different.
Now it's,
many other countries are making much better quality white wines.
Private customers very important, and for this reason now the hospitality is very good. It's very nice in Friuli.
What I hope is that what you try to do in introducing more wine tourism into Friuli is to not try and use maybe the Californian model, and to try and keep the authentic character, and to show we are, even though we love to make great wines, we are still very simple people, and we care about the important things, which is hospitality and people and food. I think that is what is lacking from wine tourism in California and probably in Australia as well. I think the New World is actually better at selling wine than they are at making wine, and so maybe there needs to be this balance that I talk about, and finding this equal point to say that we make great wines and we sell it.
I hope, and I always hope, but I can. I spoke. I was a vice president from Consorzio Collio too. No, I'm young, but when I was 25, I was vice president. And unfortunately, the thing that all this politics and all this marketing consultants are looking for models outside from Friuli, but we don't need nothing.
No.
We have everything.
You have to look inside.
I always told them, but you know that we are the only place in the world where someone can go to ski in the morning and for lunch can be on a river, and and during the afternoon can go to swim in a sea. It's not so many places like this, but not without taking
California.
But without taking helicopter with the car and 1 hour. I mean, with 2 trips of 1 hour, not long trips, no. And then we have a lot of history, no. I mean, we were a big crossing point of different cultures. We have Trieste is very rich of every kind of culture. Jewish, Turkish, Slovenian, Serbian, all. And we are looking models from outside. We want to make, I don't know what, like make in Tuscany or other regions, but I don't know why.
Friuli is like the Vienna of Italy.
Exactly. Yeah, we haven't to use. We can make tours without spending money. Without spending, just to opening our houses, to opening our gardens, to open our cellars, and that's it.
But I think that's part of the reason that people come to Italy anyway. They want to have this very rural and simple and authentic and just generous people.
I don't like. I'm sorry, but in our business, in wine business, it's are a lot artificial producers.
Yes,
a lot of these organic producers, and not only big producers that people know all over the world. A lot of them are artificial. They want to make something that is not. They are not really like that. No.
Yes.
And that was a thing that I always that I never loved in our business in wine world. No. The wine world there are really, believe me, a lot of artificial personalities that are famous but artificial because I know them. I mean, I know personally them, and I know how are really them, and so for this reason I try always to be very spontaneously and telling what I'm really believing, and I see that the first moment maybe you are not so attractive, but then after years the people when start to know more about the wine, about everything, they prefer they start to understand who is real personality and who is not, who is artificial. No?
You know this story of the ugly duckling. This, like small ducks, and then his family, and then it's the one duck, and they said, "Oh, it looks so strange," and then it grew up, and it was a swan. This, I think, is a very good analogy. And so, in the last 10 years, you have been responsible for the promotion and the selling of wine, and you said that you have been doing a lot of travel. Where have you spent a lot of time in traveling and talking about your wines and your region?
Especially on US market. No, US market is especially East Coast, New York,
Boston, Chicago.
Especially New York is right now is still the first market for wine.
Of course,
not only Italian but for every kind of wine.
Yes.
And it's very important market still now, but changed in the last 2-3 years. Changed a lot. I see the last trip that I made in this summer in June. I see that a lot of Italian restaurants, important Italian restaurants closed.
Why do you think this is? Is this, I mean, of course, it's economics, but particularly is it people losing interest in Italian restaurants or Italian?
One of the reasons is that for sure, because in the last years grow the ethnic food, not only Italian but Taiwan, Chinese, Japanese, all this kind of food, good quality food.
Yes.
I mean, expensive restaurant, not like before that were only takeaway and this kind of just street food, but now are coming up important restaurants with ethnic food, no?
A bit
I think
more
that here is the same, maybe
edgy,
more.
yes.
Yeah. I see, for example, yesterday evening that here is the same. And another thing is that the people haven't money, like, I mean, they haven't to spend so much, so...
Okay.
It's like economical crisis too, no?
Of course.
The same is in Germany.
Yes.
In Germany, you can go in Munich, Monaco, or you can go north, Düsseldorf, other these big cities.
Cologne, yes.
Cologne. You will see the people outside during the evening. They are all the pubs or bars. I mean, no, the how's called the beer
hall.
Beer hall.
Brauhaus.
Full, yeah, full.
Mm-hmm.
And no, full of people.
Yes.
But how much you spend there?
Not
Maybe
much.
with 10 euro. 10
Yeah.
euro, you are full of beer and no eating. You eat just the sausages.
Mm-hmm.
Drink 5 beers, and
Yes.
then you go
Beer
home.
is very cheap in Germany.
Italian restaurant is very bad moment for them in January. In
general.
Germany, because where you spend 50, 60 euros, 35 euros is too expensive right now.
What happened in Melbourne to a large extent is what you're talking about. That happened about, I think, 5 or 10 years ago. There were many Italian restaurants that the prices had crept up very slowly, and then at some point they sort of became a little bit either too expensive, or they weren't trying very hard, and they were just very inauthentic. And then about 5 or 10 years ago, there started to arrive this new trend of much more simple, much more rustic and authentic food. And so even in historically very strong areas for Italian restaurants, where now it became a lot more touristic, there emerged this new sort of pizza culture. Now there's very, very vibrant culture for pizzas, and they're still not too expensive, but it's really doing very well. Do you think that this is something that needs to happen somewhere like New York, where there needs to be this rebirth, a reimagining of what Italian food is?
Right.
And I think a part of that is that they are introducing these much more authentic, rustic wines, like very simple, just very enjoyable table wine. From these authentic, sort of indigenous grape varieties that people just drink and enjoy, and it's friendly and it's what Italian life is like. It's particularly rural Italian life.
Well,
very beautiful, very simple. Your
analysis is perfect. I mean, this is the real true now moment. This is the real picture of the moment now. These restaurants that you told that start another time to improve the simple quality of the food, of the simplicity. I mean, not the complication, not the nouvelle cuisine or this kind, but the simply. I mean, I see in New York the same. The Italian restaurants that are working are Italian restaurants where you can eat really pizza.
Yes,
it's very simple pizza with some tomato and some bufala, and that's it. But good materials. I mean, good food.
Yes,
coming and. With a good price too. I mean, not mean $6, but $10, $12, $15. But
a bit more than you would spend in Napoli.
Yeah, right, exactly. The same like to spend. But for me, I remember when I started to travel, 10 years old. When I went to New York, to other places, usually I always eat in Italian restaurants because Italian wines. Why we can sell a lot of Italian wine all over the world because they are Italian restaurants. No?
Yes.
I mean, they are our...
In the same way that you can sell Guinness all around the world because there are
because
Irish pubs.
Yeah, right. Because Italian restaurants are our ambassadors all over the world.
Pizza.
That's the big value for Italian wines, no? But I always told, it's unbelievable that I have to go in New York or I don't know where to eat real Italian food. No? I mean, in the last years, it became that you told, they improved the prices, but the quality baddest every time, better. They start to take not the tomato or cheese from Italy, but from mozzarella from, I don't know, from Brooklyn or from I don't know where, for example, no? Just to preserve $2 or $3, no?
Yes.
Just to improve the profits, and we lose everything.
Yes.
That's typical from Italians. I mean, when something is going well, we try to make more money without spend less. No.
Yes. Yes.
And now I think
people are now more and more appreciating
in Melbourne,
quality.
Maybe there are more Italian restaurants than in New York. It's true.
Probably. I mean, for the population.
I don't know how many are here.
How many Italian restaurants?
No.
I think maybe about 500,000 at least. But I mean, it depends what you classify as an Italian restaurant. If just a place that makes
Italian,
pizza, maybe not. But
from Italy.
I can tell you that the number of new Italian restaurants that have opened up in Melbourne has been incredible. Like every year, there's at least sort of 4 or 5 new, good Italian restaurants that are opening up, and people are saying, how is it possible that people in Melbourne aren't tired of Italian food? It's because the thing that if I have one adjective that I think perfectly explains what Italy is, it's uncomplicated. This for me is exactly everything. The best of what Italy is completely uncomplicated, and that applies to any of the produce, the way of life, the people, the way people interact. It's uncomplicated. People don't overthink things. They live and love, and this is what is so romantic about the Italian way. I think particularly when you compare it to somewhere like France. France is much more complicated. It's complex, and you think about just the food and the wine perfectly sums up that compared to Italian. I think that's possibly why people think of Italian wine very simply, but that's not a bad thing. I think that's what life needs to have more of, is uncomplicated elements.
I told you that you have before that you had the right idea about wine. No, maybe you will explain them in next future. But I think that your trip in Italy, you understand really the Italian world, and I think that you can really explain to the customers from Australia what mean Italia. No. Yeah,
I hope so. Well, I think. It's been a really good discussion, really interesting. It's nice to hear more about yourself and your winery and how you view particularly Italian wine in the market. So I really appreciate you to spend the time with me. Thank you very much.
For me, it was a pleasure, and I hope next year when I come back to have another interview with you.
Please do seek out Azienda Agricola Fiegl. Their wines are available in many countries, and hopefully in the future many more, pushing into new markets. And make sure you follow on Twitter. It's
Fiegl.
At AZ Fiegl, Fiegl, and then you can find out all the information as it happens. But thank you again for joining us.
It was a pleasure. Goodbye. Ciao.
Thank you very much for listening, guys. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at IntrepidWino, or you can follow the podcast at the Vincast. Please do visit my blog, www.intrepidwino.com, and find out everything that's been happening, and also you can listen to the podcast there. You can also listen to it on iTunes. Please make sure you subscribe, and when you get an opportunity, please rate and comment. I would love to hear from you. And until next time, we will see you soon. Bye.